like I'm paying attention.
Okay. Yeah, this part's going on YouTube too. All right. Hey everyone, this is Trey from Steinke Recorded Radio Show, joined once again with John O'Malley, and we are discussing Chapter 2, which is the big secret of dealing with people. So this is very important. Stay tuned for the entire video, and you'll hopefully get something great out of this that you can use. Okay, so big secret of dealing with people. We deal with people every day. You deal with people
A lot.
a lot. Because what do you do, Brother John?
I'm the general director of a missions agency. We communicate with about 3,800 churches and another that many donors or more. We have over 100 missionary families, and so communication is a big part of what I do. And speaking with people, sometimes at their best and sometimes at their worst. And the job is to be like Christ in every situation.
That's right.
Actions and reactions.
And what I do, I work at Ep.11 right now. Worked at Panera Bread. I've dealt with a lot of people over time. And then,
what if we have non-millennial viewers and they won't even know what an Aeropostale is?
That's right.
You better explain.
Aeropostale is a clothing store for the young.
They're very young and skinny.
And yeah, they have my size.
They
That's
don't
why,
mind.
That's why I shop there.
Okay.
So this chapter is focused on making people feel appreciated, even in what we may think the lowliest of jobs. There's a story of a janitor in here in this chapter that we'll be talking about. And then all the way from, they even talked about the Queen of England. Of course, she was subdued by flattery. But this is what we're going to be talking about, showing appreciation to those who may not always get it and making people feel important with their job. And he says one way, and this isn't a good way to do it, but he says you can make someone want to give you his watch by sticking a revolver in his ribs. And that's just, showing you can be forceful about things. You can tell people to do something, and they'll do it, but they aren't going to enjoy it. They aren't going to want to do more, and they aren't going to feel appreciated and wanted by you, if you're just another person doing stuff.
It's kind of like a parent when they make their kid do something that the kid doesn't want to do. They're doing it because, it's like do or I don't eat. Mm-hmm. And so you want to eat, so you do the stuff. But
yeah.
But when you get down to managing people, you can't boss people around if you want to win friends and influence people.
That's right. And he says, John Dewey, says the deepest urge in human nature is the desire to be important. And at the beginning of this chapter, he lists 8 things. And if you could read those 8 things.
These are the things that people crave the most. And he talks about the idea that you crave with an insistence that will not be denied, is a quote from the book. So here they are. Health and preservation of life. You want to be healthy, and you want to make sure you stay alive. Someone starts choking you, you want to live.
That's right.
Food, that's an important one. Although you ate a Taco Bell salad this week.
Okay.
Whatever. Sleep.
That's delicious.
Money and the things money will buy. Life in the hereafter. Sexual gratification. The well-being of our children. And a feelings of importance. These are the things that people want in their life.
And then in this chapter, we're just focusing on number 8, the feeling of being important. William James described it. The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. And Carnegie focused on that one word. It's a craving. And people are truly desiring, with everything that they do, just to have someone notice that they're doing it. So, from the waitress to even Brother John is the director of an agency.
Or the guy at Aeropostale.
Or me, the guy at Aeropostale. Just being told that you're appreciated, that you have done a good job, that goes a long way. And when it's told truthfully.
It is. Sincerity is huge in this. You can't just throw out words because it won't mean anything. But if you are genuine about this approach, you can make a difference in someone's day. I mean, you just think about, let's say you're working retail, right? And you're at the store and somebody comes back and said, these ripped jeans are ripped. I don't want them. Why did you sell me ripped jeans? And you say, well, sir, that's the fashion. They're supposed to be ripped. Mm-hmm. And then they say, well, you're dumb. And you say, well, that's not making me feel important. Or you want to tell the customer, you're dumb. And at that point, you're not making that person feel important. But what if you made that person feel valued at that moment to say, maybe that is a bigger rip than we intended to have. What can we do to make this resolve for you today? And all of a sudden to realize, own their view of things. And in owning their view, then you really do have a better picture.
He goes through in this list of people, famous people, who had the desire of importance and grasping that desire and pretty much running with it to help them. So he says it was a desire for a feeling of importance that an uneducated, poverty-stricken grocery clerk who found some law books, and goes on further saying that was Abraham Lincoln who found those law books, and he had a desire to be a lawyer, to read those, to be educated, and from there on he just kept the desire of wanting to be important. And then he goes on to it was Dickens who had the desire of feeling importance that led him to write his novels. It was the desire of Rockefeller, and he gained millions in his time. And then he goes on to kind of a darker side of this, and it's a desire of feeling important that young kids, teens, and even adults will go into violent gangs, robberies, murders, things like that, just to be noticed because they get publicized, quote unquote famous by today's world. And he goes into one person, Dillinger, and Dillinger's being chased to a farmhouse, and the police have caught up to him. And Dillinger just shouts out, "I'm Dillinger." And he says it because he was proud of the fact that he was a public enemy. And he said, "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want you to know that I'm Dillinger." And that was the whole point of all of his robberies, all of his murders, was just for people to know who he was. And so there is, Carnegie says, there is a significant difference between Dillinger and Rockefeller, and it's from how they got their feeling of importance. How you feed that desire is important. If you're going to do it the wrong way with a sin, and what those people did with Dillinger, or do it a good way, in a way that is beneficial to not only yourself but also to mankind. Do you have any thoughts?
I do. We're just 24 hours, or maybe 48 hours from the guy who killed the 9 people in the church in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, I have not been able to watch the news fully to say why was he doing that, but he was just caught in the county where I live in North Carolina. And I think about, why does somebody do that? We, in our Western type thinking, we have to kind of figure it out. Why does somebody act like that? What drives them? And I think if we got to talk to him, it would distill it down to this. He just wanted to be recognized for what he did. And Trey, when we have these school shootings or these bombings, there's always copycats. Why? Because somebody sees the notoriety that was given to that person, and in so doing, they say, "Well, I want that notoriety." It is so, the word crave is so important here to understand, as Carnegie mentioned at the beginning of the chapter, was that they crave it. I mean, you might crave Taco Bell or Doritos or
I could get
whatever.
one right now.
Yeah, I couldn't. I wouldn't. But the fact is that word crave is a strong, innate desire to force us to do something. And everybody wants to feel important. And we can use that to our advantage. It's not like sticking the gun in the guy's ribs and saying, "Give me your watch," but to say, and not to manipulate people, because we don't want to be manipulators of people. But when we're transacting business, whether you're selling jeans or shirts, or I am trying to assist a missionary in some regard, you want to make everybody with whom you speak feel important. Jesus did it. Whether it was Zacchaeus, whether it was the woman taken in adultery, or whether it was the woman at the well, he made everybody feel important. Why can't we do that?
Going along with this wrong way.
Oh, so you're not going to answer my question? Fine,
Oh,
whatever.
I'm sorry.
We can. It's a choice.
We can.
Thanks. I'll answer my own question.
Going along with the wrong way, feeling important, I go a little further. President McKinley's wife, she got her feeling of importance by force, forcing her president or her husband, to be with her at all times while she was bedridden, either with the dentist. I guess she had a lot of teeth work done.
I wasn't
apparently.
alive.
And so she would make scenes about it whenever he would leave her. And so that's a pathetic way. That's a childish way of getting importance, by making scenes, by putting on a show. One lady, she was bedridden, not really, and she had her old mother, climb up these stairs every day to carry her meals, and the mother died on the first floor, and her daughter did not notice for a good while. Apparently didn't notice that she wasn't getting her meals, and all of a sudden she gets up out of bed and she just goes on about living. And it's a manipulative way, of just a childish manipulative way of getting your importance. Is not going to be long lasting.
Isn't it like an adult temper tantrum at that point?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's not going to be beneficial to you. It's only beneficial to you and only you at that small point of time. But, like Lincoln, like Rockefeller, they grasped that importance and they ran with it, and it stuck with them for a long time. Unlike Dillinger and unlike Miss McKinley and her, it was just for a short time.
It's an important truth.
It was only selfish and self-centered. He goes a little further too, and gets into insane people, mentally ill people, who actually can be thought of as faking it in a way just so people can notice them.
Weird.
It is weird. Do you have any other thoughts on that besides it's weird?
No, really, I don't know. Weird. But there is. It just exposes this crave thought. To say, I want this, so I will check off any indicator that says this is wrong, just so I can have this. And this idea of saying I've got to have it is wrong. I've got to have the right motive. And I think this is what, for me, this chapter distills down to, what is my motive? Do I want to make somebody feel good so I can get them to do what I want? Or do I just want to invest in others?
Yeah.
Do I want to just simply say, how can I manifest the love of Christ to somebody? And then from there say, that's my motive. And not worry about, well, I'm going to get this or get that. But to really drive home that one principle that he said, and I don't want to spoil the end, but he just says, give honest and sincere appreciation. And that's really what's lacking. It's a common courtesy, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Just to make someone feel important, not to make yourself elevated, but someone else.
And when you start to make others feel important, when you show appreciation towards them, then you're going to get the same back at you.
Sure.
People are going to look at you at a higher appreciation. And from meeting Brother John, he does show that a lot. He shows his appreciation towards people, and I, as knowing him, I see it as a high regard and a privilege to even be with him. But, just his appreciation toward others, as I watch him, his daily life, he does live by it. And it's pretty amazing of what it can bring you to.
I think about that Bible verse in Romans 12, let each esteem other better than himself. Carnegie was on his drive here, but these principles are not isolated. They're biblical principles, or they're clear biblical principles that are here. And if I can take, let's just say in daily life, you wake up in the morning, maybe you stop by Starbucks and pick up coffee. You could do one thing that day and give an honest and sincere appreciation to that person. Look them in the eye. Make them feel valued. I remember one time we were at Disney, and Kim, John, our son, and me, and I was so impressed with the cast member. That's what they call the folks that work at Disney. And I was impressed with the way the cast member handled herself. And I just stopped in the middle of a very busy day and said, you know what I appreciate? I appreciate the fact that you are here so my family can be entertained. and that you are giving your best to make sure our experience is a wonderful day. Kim started weeping. The cast member started weeping. And I wasn't doing anything. I mean, we had finished the ride. It wasn't like, if I say this, I'm going to get upgraded over here or fast pass or something. It was just, I felt it in that moment. It's like, she ought to feel valued.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that we ought to practice.
Yeah. Showing the appreciation towards others.
Sincere.
Yeah. Don't be fake.
Yeah.
If you are wondering, what is it going to do for me in business? Because this is a business book, and we are putting it in a Christian side and in a biblical side. And
Well, you can't separate.
Joining them
Yeah,
together.
following Christ affects every aspect of your life, whether
Right.
you're making bazillions or you're making nothing but you're helping people. It doesn't matter.
Charles Schwab, he was one of the first men to make $1 million a year for salary. And the reason that he was able to is because Carnegie looked at him and noticed that he was able to deal with him. Schwab says that he was paid this salary largely because of his ability to deal with people. He said, "I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people the greatest asset I possess, and the way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement."
It's a wonderful thing.
If you do want someone to do a good job with a task that you've given them, give them the appreciation after the fact and before the fact, that they're willing to do it. Show your appreciation there, and then after the fact, give the appreciation for the job that they have done well, even if not all of the job was done well.
True. That's a very good point.
Notice the parts that were done well. There was a part about a janitor. Did you read that part?
Bring it to mind again, because I was trying to think of what you were talking about when you said that earlier.
Yes, there was a janitor who worked in a facility, and it was noticed that he wasn't doing a very good job.
Oh, yeah.
And the workers actually made it harder on him because they noticed that he wasn't doing a very good job as well. And the boss, she noticed as well that he wasn't doing good, and they don't want to get rid of him or anything like that. And so what she did is she publicly appreciated him, and in front of the other coworkers on even just the smallest part that was done well. So, "Oh, well, you mopped that hallway. We appreciate that. Thank you for doing that." And that grew. She said that as she kept on doing that, he started doing other portions better.
To rise up to it.
And he got more of the job done at the best that he could do, solely because she appreciated even the minute parts that were done.
There's a great story. We'll have to find it for another episode. I hope it'll fit in. But there was this guy, and he lived in the islands, and his name was Johnny something, and he had this situation where there was this woman that he was very interested in, and everybody said she was the ugliest woman on the island. There was nothing of merit to her at all. Can't believe that this very popular guy was so interested in her. And he made that woman feel so beautiful, she began to respond and act beautifully. So when someone heard the story, they went to meet his wife, and they couldn't believe it's this stunning woman, because he took the time to invest in her, brought out her inner beauty. It's a great story. I'll have to send it to you, Trey.
I would like to read that.
You looked bored when I was talking about it.
Now, you don't want to mix this up with flattery.
No, completely different.
Flattery is a lie. It's telling people, it says in here, telling people what they already know or what they want to hear. And Carnegie says, of course, flattery seldom works with discerning people. So you could get by with it, but it's just not something that you should use.
Right.
It is shallow and selfish and insincere. It ought to fail, and it usually does. And I thought that was
It's strong.
good.
Did you read the part what Emerson said? Were you going to talk about that? The last quote there.
You can.
Emerson said this: "Every man I meet is my superior in some way. In that I learn of him." What a great truth to say. You could walk in a room and say, "I'm the smartest guy in the room," and you could believe that. Or you could say, "There's something here. Everyone in this room can teach me something. What is it that they're going to teach me?" I think it's a powerful thing to remember. He said, I'll repeat again, every man I meet is my superior in some way. In that, I learn of him. It's a powerful truth.
Yeah. Now, before we go, before we wrap up this discussion of this chapter, he does point out the differences between appreciation and flattery here. And I'm going to just read it to you.
Please, that was good.
The difference between appreciation and flattery, that is simple. One is sincere and the other is insincere. One comes from the heart out and the other from the teeth out. One is unselfish, the other is selfish. One is universally admired, the other is universally condemned.
It's true. Can I read one quote too before we go? It said, he said this, I shall pass this way but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. I thought, what a powerful truth.
Mm-hmm. So, I hope that you enjoyed reading Chapter 2 of our book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And principle number 2 was give honest and sincere appreciation. Try it out for this week. Hopefully it'll become a habit for you and put it to practice.
Tell us your story in the comment section.
Yes, please comment below, like, and share. And this
Buy the book.
Buy the book. We did get a comment. I don't know if you saw.
I did.
Someone did buy the book.
They good. I'm glad they did.
I am too. Anyways, this was Steinke Recorded Radio Show.
Oh, you know what we forgot to say? We were together in the same room, not remote locations.
I'm touching it.
In the flesh. See? Okay.
So, yes, we will see you all next week, but not together.
No, we're separately, but together.
Yes. Anyways, this full episode will be on YouTube. The edited version will be on Facebook. So both links will be there for you to click on. Anyways, we'll see you next week. Thank you.